Well, hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Opcast. I am your host, Bo Higgins, and I have the pleasure today to be joined by the Turner Construction team, Brad and Gabrielle. I'll let them introduce themselves in a minute. For those that may not be familiar with Opline, Opline is a tool, a free resource for veterans that are in the job market. It's a great resource that allows you to take your skills, use your rank, your MOS, your years of service. It'll ask you some contextually correct questions. It'll match your skills to the job market. A super cool tool. Again, this is a freebie for veterans, free for military spouses, free for student veterans, really free for anyone. So if you're in the job market, I encourage you to go to www.opline.com. Check it out, and we would love to help you find your next opportunity. And hopefully that opportunity may be with Turner Construction, who we have on the air today. Brad, Gabrielle, welcome to the show, and let us know what you guys are doing today. Give us a little intro on yourselves.
Thank you, Bo. Brad Richey, I'm an Air Force vet, was a B-52 crew chief back in 96. I actually got out of the service September 11th, 01. The day the planes hit the towers is the day I got out. I would have turned around and re-enlisted immediately if my wife told me that wasn't a really bad idea because we're supposed to be getting married in a month. Since then, it's been kind of a crazy transition. 21 years with Turner Construction. I'm a senior general manager over one of our data center clients, data center programs. I run a program that's about $6 billion a year in construction revenue and growing. If you read anything in the news right now and you see the world and what's going on in data centers, you listen to politics and you see all the things about national security, it's real. And we're right in the middle of what we're building to make this country great and keep this country where it is. So it's a fantastic time to be in the industry. It's a really exciting time to see how things are growing and moving. So I was a mechanic in the military, crew chief, as I said, carrying my tools. I've always liked to do hands-on stuff. I always liked to get my hands dirty, get my boots dirty. Never thought I would make it in the corporate world when I got out. Lo and behold, here I am 21 years later, and it has been just a thrilling ride along the way. So, Gabrielle, I'll toss it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad. And thanks for all you do for your service and what you do internally for, supporting, helping to recruit our vets. So Gabrielle Angresano, privileged to be here today. I work for Turner Construction for the past 7 years. I'm in the talent management department, and a large focus of my work is on veteran recruitment and supporting our vets once they're in the company. We've got plenty of resources internally in the form of people, benefits, et cetera, to support our folks. A little bit about my why. I started in learning and development within the company and then had the opportunity to get involved in this work. I think it's incredible. I love working with this population. I have family who've served, my grandfather, my dad, my uncle. My best friend is currently serving in the Coast Guard. And I'm just beyond grateful to those who have served our great nation. So thank you.
Love it. No, it's great, and appreciate y'all's support and being here, and obviously great to be a partner of yours at Opline. For those that may not be familiar with Turner Construction, I am, so we worked with you guys, and I got to know you, but it wasn't necessarily a company that was on the tip of my tongue necessarily. Relatively speaking. Can you share a little bit about maybe the history of Turner? What's it all about? What do you build data centers is one thing. I know there's a lot more than that. What are the opportunities that Turner has? Where are you located? For veterans that are listening to this show, what should they know about what Turner does and what Turner's all about?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so we're the number one general contractor in the country. We lead in many, many different markets: sports, healthcare, aviation, data centers, technology. We're the leading builder in all of those markets. We have, I believe, close to 46 offices. It's up and down, 5 regions stretched across the country. It's kind of divided up separately. So there's opportunities nationwide from coast to coast. We do have a few offices that we'll talk about later that are starving for people because the workload has grown so much. But what is it about Turner that should excite veterans is we really focus on our people. There's a huge focus on, and not just our people, but the trade contractor people, the labor forces out in the field. There's a huge focus on active caring and respect for people. And when veterans hear that, a lot of them cling to that because that's a lot of what we got when we were in the service as well. It's all about leadership. It's all about the people, and it's all about making sure that they're treated with respect. And there's a huge focus there. So we build some of the most complex buildings in the world, really high profile stuff. If you see major construction going on in the news, or if you hear the president talking about really large jobs, more than likely Turner's involved in them. So it's pretty cool that I came up through the industry carrying my tools. I was a carpenter back in high school before I went to school. I've always been a hands-on kind of guy, but being where I'm at today and I turn on the news at night and I start listening to things, I'm like, oh yeah, we're involved in that job and that job and that job. We're involved in all this
that.
really cool stuff. And a lot of construction personnel talk about taking their kids across state lines and pointing out jobs. I built this, I built that. It's true. I've been doing that with my kids since they were babies. They get tired of me doing it when we drive into the cities. Like I spent most of my time in Lexington, Kentucky, at University of Kentucky before I moved up to Columbus. And every time I drive around the university, I'd point out things. My daughters are like, Dad, we know you were involved in that. But I've got one that's wanting to follow in the footsteps. So we've done something right.
There you go. No, I love that. That's super cool. And I would say, to Gabrielle, to ask you a question, what kind of roles are you hiring for? I mean, obviously you need folks that have a construction background, but a company that big needs everything. That's why I always talked about. People think, oh, Amazon is just logistics. No, I needed doctors and lawyers and program managers and IT people, so I think people can think, oh, one company, you only need this. Can you talk a little bit about the roles that you're hiring for? Because I'm sure it's a little bit of everything. It's not just like a guy with a wrench, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, we do get a lot of people who, may not actually have the construction experience, but find themselves interested in the industry. And while we are recruiting for operations, logistics, maintenance roles, safety roles, very technical, we've had folks who, they've served overseas and they're like, I'm bilingual. Is there anything internally that would be helpful for me to be leading a team? And we say all the time, like, yeah, there's multiple job functions. We have a whole community who are focused on workforce development, really getting involved in the communities that we build in, sustainability, innovation with the AI boom. There's so many different opportunities within the company that skills translate. And, Brad, I'm sure we'll touch upon this. A lot of what we really encourage veteran population is if you have the leadership, you have the accountability, the work ethic, you have those soft skills to lead teams, we can teach you the rest. Because that's really what we're looking for.
I love that. And I think that's one of the things that when I talk to veterans, that's what I tell them, or talk to companies that are looking at building a veteran hiring program. It's like, look, all these folks you're hiring, they went into the military, they learned a skill there. No one knew how to be a B-52 crew chief in high school, right? You didn't know how to be an artilleryman in high school. You learned a skill in the military. So you've proven you can do that. That's a good thing, right? Because you can learn something else, right? It may be related to what you did in the military. It may be not related to what you did in the military, but you have proven the ability to learn a completely new skill set, which I think is important, especially as industry changes and jobs change over time. Being able to stay current, to stay fresh, or to learn a completely new skill set is super important. And I'll go back to you, Brad. You obviously, crew chief working on a plane is very different than I'm sure what you did at Turner, but something there was similar. And I would like to dig in a little more about your journey. What was your transition like? I mean, how did Turner get on your radar? What was your path to get to where you are? And again, because there's so many people out there that are getting out right now that probably have a similar background and can learn from your journeys. What was your journey like?
And I'll back up and address something Gabriella was talking about real quick, and then I'll jump into my journey because they kind of run parallel. I talk a lot about when I get veterans on phone calls and we're doing interviews, I'm looking to hire for character and we'll train the skill. Most companies, even Turner Construction, generally is looking to hire for skill. What do most companies fire for? They fire for behavior. Most companies aren't firing people because they don't pick up the skill sets. We can generally teach the skill sets. What I love about the veteran community is when we're hiring for that, we're usually getting great character, great leadership. What we do is not rocket science. It's leadership. It's going out and talking to the crews in the field. It's leaders create the behavior that drive the results. So we're focused on leaders going out and having conversations and bringing back questions and leading there. So a lot of what my transition, me being a B-52 crew chief, a couple of years in that position, going through the manuals, the amazing way that the military trains you to do things. I could take the entire plane apart in 2 years and put it back together, right? It was just absolutely amazing. And I love the hands-on stuff. I was not a good student. I was actually a really, really poor high school student. And I had a vocational class that I was in then. I was a carpenter in high school. I went to university and I never learned how to study when I was at high school. So after my first year, I did not do very well and decided that military is probably where I need to go. My mom wasn't very happy about it, but my dad and all of my uncles, most of my family had all served up through my great-grandfather. So it was just a natural path for me to choose the military and head that direction. Chose the Air Force actually because I wanted to go in Special Forces. I'm an avid swimmer, love to swim. I love being in the water, and I couldn't think of anything cooler than jumping out of a perfectly good airplane and go saving a downed pilot. So I'd learned about pararescue and what they did, and that was my target when I got in. After I was in for a few weeks, they send you back to military MEPS to make sure your physical's okay. They knew then that I was already blind, but they didn't tell me until after I already signed the dotted line. So they gave me two options. I could either go be an EOD or I could be a crew chief. And I'm like, what's an EOD? Well, if we drop a bomb and it doesn't go off, you're the guy that goes out and disarms it. I don't want that. I'll go be a crew chief. So that's actually how I got to the MLS and got to where I was at. Transitioning out of the service, for me, it was pretty easy because I had come up as a carpenter for a long time. I knew I wanted to be a civil engineer. I knew where I wanted my future. I wanted to be a builder. That's where my head was forever. So for me, it was actually a really easy transition. I've got a lot of others that's not quite as easy. I've got 3 special forces individuals working for me now that we've since recruited. And it's been the drive and the day-to-day drive that their entire elite team has is a little bit easier to point in a direction and say go than coming to a staff of 200 people and you got 30 or 40% of them that have that exact same drive, and some of the other ones got to pull around. So there's a little bit of discipline difference going from the military into private sector, and it's taking some time for us to try and make sure we get some of those people in the right seats. Hiring for character, training for skill. What is the skill set? It may take us 6 to 8 months to figure out what the right skill set is, where you truly belong. Just interviewed a paralegal with 22 years of service, and I found a great spot for her. Going to bring her on with us here real soon. And I'm really excited about that opportunity because you talk to a paralegal and they're like, oh, what in the world could I do in the construction industry? And we start laying out all the different roles. Gabriella touched on some. We also have a large insurance company that we run. We have a manufacturing company that we run. We have a logistics company that we run. All of those are in the background of the construction world. So there's a lot of different roles out there. It's not just engineers, superintendents, safety, and hammer swingers. Right? There's a lot of different positions. So how did I land at Turner? I interviewed for 3 or 4 different companies, and they were all in the top 4 of E&R. So E&R is Engineered News Record. It's a magazine that comes out, and I only want to go to the best of the best. I actually got 3 different offers, and one of them was Turner Construction, and Turner was number 1 on E&R. I didn't even look at what the paycheck was. I wanted to go work for the best. And that was how I landed here. I started out in Cincinnati, and then they sent me down to University of Kentucky to go build a massive hospital down there. And about 11 years ago, I transitioned up to Columbus and took over a data center program. And I've been doing this now for 10 years with this one program. I'm running 9 different campuses. I'm not actually running. I've got execs that are running 9 different campuses. I just go and play whack-a-mole with the client. Wherever things are popping up, we got to go solve problems. I jump in and solve problems, get out of the way. I've got fantastic vice presidents and execs on every campus, but we're stretched out across multiple states. So it's a lot of fun. I can hear my crowd out here right now clapping. We just had a turnover. So if you guys heard the clapping in the background, we just turned over part of the space. One of the things that transitions well from the military to construction, just one last thing I'll touch on, and then outdoor work. I like being outdoors. I like getting my hands dirty. Every day is different. There's not a single day that I come into work and I really know exactly how the day is going to unfold. Mix of nationalities, mix of cultures, mix of ideas. We've got a large hub of people coming in. I've got 4,000 workers on this job site, and everybody's a little bit different. So it's really neat to go out there and ask questions and learn about different cultures. I really enjoy that. I enjoyed that when I was in the military, and I really enjoy it now. It's all about strong leadership. Like construction is leadership. Construction is culture. We can do all the engineering. We can have the perfect building put on paper, but unless you can put the pieces in place to go out and lead the 4,000 workers, it's never going to happen. No different than marching troops right down the road into a battle. If you don't have strong leaders, it's not going to happen. So I really enjoy the role, enjoy what I'm doing. And I'm obviously a huge advocate of bringing veterans into the job site with us.
I love that. I mean, I love a lot of things that you said, and the similarities from the military to working at a company like Turner are pretty amazing, right? Look at from the Marine Corps perspective, a lot of the guys I talk to, their E5's getting out, they've been in the field, they don't want to work in an office. They would go crazy. All right, well, I'm a infantryman, I'm an 11 Bravo in the Army. Why would a company want to hire me? I'm basically good at being homeless, living in the woods. Like, no, you have great skills. I mean, you show up on time, you can work at night, you can work in weather, you can work hungover. I mean, you're going to show up, you're going to be there, right? This is something that is a skill that you may not know you have, and I'm sure obviously is valued by a company like Turner and others, but certainly it's something that the veterans often don't know it, though. I think that's the challenge is upline can help them see like, yeah, actually your skill set being in combat arms applies very, very well to, the opportunities at a company like Turner. So I think that's important for the veterans to understand that and hear that. I think you laid out very, very well, Brad, for sure. It's good stuff. And Gabrielle, how did you get to this job? How did Turner get on your radar as well? I mean, it's not something that I knew about till more recently, but yeah, I'm curious about your journey as well.
Yeah, sure. So I had the opportunity to intern when I was an undergrad and never thought I would land in this industry. And quite frankly, didn't know where my background in psychology and neuroscience really fit into the organization, to be honest. I did a full HR rotational internship and really loved the folks that I worked with and just loved getting to learn about the industry. And then actually went back for grad school in an applied psychology degree and reached back out to Turner at the time and asked if there was a value in myself coming back. Do you see value in this master's degree in applied psychology? And yeah, and the rest has been history. It's been a really, really great journey. And I really enjoy having our business partners such as Brad in operations, having that marriage of HR and operations. It's important because one can't function without the other, especially in this space. A large part of what we're in the process of doing is helping translate the skills, exactly what you guys are talking about, the transferable skills from military life to not only civilian culture, but specifically a Turner. Where can these folks fit in? Because we don't just want to place people in their first role. Historically, we know that vets don't typically stay in that first role for a long time, right? They kind of job hop to get to a place that they enjoy and find value in, but we want to be that stop and we want to be a career for them, right? So helping our talent acquisition, HR staff, and operations, Brad's my go-to because he served and he's in operations, but for folks who don't have that experience, how do we help translate those skills to make the case for hiring more vets? And how do we get people to see that, no, they have all these transferable skills. You just may not know it by looking at a resume. And that's where Opline is super helpful because it kind of does that work for us. They fill out their profile and they see where they match with the Turner open job, but there's still a bit of a selling. The candidate has to sell themselves and then we have to be able to receive it and be open-minded to say, okay, you know what? They could be a good fit for logistics or whatever it may be. We're working really hard internally to bridge that gap. We have a lot of resources. We have transition coaches. We've got our ERG space. And I know Brad's been a employee resource group leader for the veteran space for a while. And the great thing about that at Turner is that it's such a big organization. So if let's say your ERG space or the project you're on maybe doesn't have as many vets, you're tapped into a national network of folks who can help and be a resource.
I love to hear what you're doing and the growth of the programs you have focusing on veterans, really to appreciate the skills that they have that they might even know they have sometimes. And you appreciate that, those intangibles in particular, which is so important. I think it's something that the veterans themselves, they just don't think about it. They're like, well, that's my job. It's what I do. I talk about, I think infantrymen in particular, probably did things like quality control. They definitely did safety, but nobody puts that on their resume that they do safety. But everything we do is safety. Everything you did in the military was somehow related to safety. Inventory management, all those things are things you did. It wasn't your MOS. It wasn't what you were known for. It wasn't necessarily what you were labeled as, but you were doing those things, right? To be able to help the veteran figure out that, yeah, those things that you did as kind of maybe collateral duties or did as part of day-to-day life are things that are going to translate well into your career as you look to come to a place like Turner. Brad, if I'm a transitioning veteran right now, what would you encourage them or what would you want them to know about Turner, about transition in general? What kind of advice would you give to someone that is interested in a career, whether Turner or in construction in general? What can they do to make themselves more marketable, better? How can they tell their story?
One of the first things that comes to mind when you ask that question is be vulnerable, be honest, be humble when you come to the table and have a conversation. We're recruiting individuals out of college. I don't expect them to know how to build $1 billion data center when they get here. I'm not expecting a 20-year service member to come in and know how to build $1 billion data center. I expect to teach you how to do that. So you don't have to come in with a big ego that you're going to come in and solve the world's problems. Come in and ask questions. Like study the companies a little bit and come in and learn and ask questions. We focus a lot on all aspects of the veteran's life. Like we get here, we want you to stay here through retirement, right? Tension seems to be a little bit of a complicated issue with brand new vets transitioning out. A lot of them don't stay in their very first job out because it's so much different from the military world into civilian life. And that first job is usually kind of a little bit of a shock. Bear with it for the first year. Find somebody like myself or another veteran that's gone through it. Find a transition coach that can work with you, that can help coach and guide through that first year. If we can keep you for 12 months, we can keep you for 20 years. But we got to get through those first 12 to 18 months, and they can be rocky a little bit. Very similar to the military, the way that Turner organization is set, our levels are kind of like a stair step. And it's very clear. There's CDQs, there's coaching, there's very clear aspects and steps to get from one position to the next and move your way up the ranks. The benefits are fantastic. If you start studying benefits in the construction area, you'll see every time you look it up that Turner's the number one benefits of anybody in the construction area as well. So a lot of those things really matter a lot to transitioning vets coming out. And we've tried to position ourselves, and we've tried to make sure that we've got all the resources available to make sure that it's a good transition for the vets.
No, that's great stuff. And I think, it's, I'm going to piggyback on that. The 12 to 18 months piece of getting into a company and sticking around. We saw that at Amazon, same thing. You can make it 18 months. Not only are you likely to stick around, we saw that our veterans promoted faster if they actually made it to that point. More of them left before 18 months, but if they made it to that point, they had a faster trajectory. So that is that critical window of adjusting to life in the civilian sector and hopefully finding a culture. I think that's part of it is, it's a different culture. It's not good, not bad. It's just different. I mean, your place in the military by your rank and your uniform. You have to figure that out again at a company like a Turner. But again, if you can make it through, and I think your point, use the resources available, right? Find that mentor, find that battle buddy that can help you kind of make it through, a guy that's already done it. Someone that also, I think you made a great point, Brad, about the fact that it's clear what it takes to get promoted. That's not always the case in the civilian world. In the military is very much like, yeah, you need this score, do this thing, pass this test, this physical fitness, this shooting, and when the time comes, you get promoted, right? In the civilian world, it's not that way. Typically, Amazon was very opaque on that, but you have to own your own career. I think that's probably the difference is instead of someone telling you the list comes out and you're on it, you have to be more, I think, engaged in owning your own career and find those opportunities to get promoted, because that can be a challenge as well. But again, I think there are some challenges there for sure.
Just to jump in real quick, that's what I was going to say. The biggest thing that I notice is just from hearing stories as to maybe why some people have left. And again, not just Turner and not even just the industry in general, right? That first position. And what I've seen is the self-advocacy. They're not used to having that autonomy to be able to say, this is what I want, this is how I want it, and this is where I want to go and be. It's uncomfortable. And honestly, that's uncomfortable for a lot of people, right? But even more so when you come from a culture of being told what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Now you have more freedom and it's actually encouraged. We want people to own their career here. If you have a vision of where you want to be in 5 years, share it. Share it with your supervisor, share it with the team. They can't help you unless they know that that's what your goal is.
Yep. That's a challenge for sure. Definitely. It's a cultural, having to own your own career and take care of yourself in a lot of ways, right? There's no monitor or detailer coming in every 3 years. Say, okay, you've been in this job for 3 years. You got to move. So now we need you to go to a staff job, right? It just doesn't happen that way. You got to own all that. So a little bit different for sure. A little bit different. Well, let's kind of, Gabrielle, I'm going to stick with you for a second. What are some specific things that Turner is doing for veterans these days that they should know about, to be a leader in the space? I mean, to talk about some specific programs that you have. How can they find you? How can they engage with you as a veteran? Okay, I'm transitioning out. What do you have for me, and how should I engage with you and figure that out?
Offline, I would say, is a great avenue. We really are using the tool very much so, and we've had some great success so far. So definitely offline. Very happy to say that we are now a official SkillBridge partner as well. So you can find us through the DOW, and we're really working internally to kind of get our folks. We have lofty hiring goals. So the SkillBridge program is a great pipeline for that, right? They can dig in, boots on the ground, they can get involved in the work, which is amazing. So I would say those are some ways. We also do work with the Honor Foundation, which is, Special Operations Forces. We provide mock interviews. We offer So we'll give folks the opportunity to see if they've never been involved or been on a job site, been involved in the industry. They can actually participate in a job site tour and then hear a little bit more about the company and our opportunities. Those are the main external ways, but internally, resource-wise, our focus right now is really helping upskilling our internal staff to understand the transition experience and how we can best support. And like Brad said, we do that in ERG space. We've got incredible benefits, transition coaches, and then we also have we're utilizing AI to kind of understand the rank translation of here's what, enlisted and officer ranks are, and then where can that, as a guideline, where could you potentially place talent at Turner? How can they transfer smoothly into our industry, into our company?
Gabrielle, I had one thing, just the Honor Foundation treks that we've been a part of, those have been fantastic because we get 30 or 40 people in the room, no idea what the construction industry is like or what it has to do with. And they walk in the room like there's no position for me here. I'll just sit back and relax because this is where I want to be. And the number of them that have contacted us afterwards and saying, oh, wow, I actually could become part of this organization. And I could see myself in a path to leadership in this organization has just been phenomenal. I've really enjoyed doing the treks because we're exposing a part of the industry that nobody really knew existed.
Yeah. Our I would say our next adventure, and we're sort of already dipping our toe, is, helmets to hard hats and more actual, like the trades. We have plenty of positions to fill there, but kind of getting folks who really do already have that boots on the ground experience. It would translate very well into the industry. So working more with folks from those organizations as well.
Love that. And I certainly will put in, I've been a mentor for the Honor Foundation for years. They're a great outfit. They had them visit out at Amazon back in the day. And everybody thinks, oh, Amazon, I'm going to work in a warehouse. Like, no, there's so many more jobs out there and so many things you can do. And they leave there with a whole different perspective on what's out there. So again, I think the challenge for veterans a lot of times, there's more resources out there than they can actually take apart it.
Yeah.
You can get overwhelmed these days. The sea of goodwill is deep these days, which is better than the alternatives. I'm not going to complain too much, but good stuff. Well, as we wind down a little bit, Brad, I'll go to you for kind of closing thoughts and words. I mean, you obviously made a successful transition, from the military into Turner. Have had a great run there. Again, as you wrap it up, what do you want to leave with the audience about, being at Turner as a veteran? What they could do, what they should do. What's the famous last words for you for our veterans that are interested in possible careers at Turner?
It's been a fantastic career. They've taken great care of all their people. I started out talking about the active caring and the respect for people. We've had individuals and coworkers that have had a lot of different issues across the board, health issues, family issues, whatever it is. From the CEO down, there is nothing but respect and treating those people right. He will drop everything he needs to do, Peter Davern, our CEO, and he'll take care of people and take care of the individual and help make sure the families are taken care of. I feel like I've been treated a way here that I've had a lot of other job offers, and I'm sure most of the company has, right? I have zero desire to go look anywhere else because I don't think that I'm going to get the same type of treatment, and I'm not going to get the same type of support when I treat my own staff the same way as what I get at this organization. It's been a lot of fun. It's hard, right? I'm not going to lie and say that it's easy. There's a lot of work going on right now. We're looking to hire a couple thousand people this year, and the company continues to grow. We're the leading construction company last year, and we're growing significantly again this year. The industry needs us, and they know that right now. There's a couple of different states that we're really looking hard at. Texas, Ohio, Indiana, we're looking really, really hard to bring people in. We just landed a couple of major jobs in Georgia and Louisiana as well. So those 5 states really we're looking to grow, and we're looking to bring people in. But there's a cool thing about the way that the business runs is we have business unit employees that they may get hired in one of the 40-some business units that we have. And then we also have I'm part of the ATG group, the Advancing Technologies group, but they're market segments. Could be sports, could be aviation, and that group of people then travel. So as the big jobs pop up wherever it is in the country, or it could be international. We've got a lot of international work as well. Those people were subject matter experts, and they jump and they go to whatever area it is. So if it's a veteran transitioning out that still wants to see part of the country, jump into one of the market segment groups. You could go build the Cleveland Browns Stadium this year, maybe Titans the following year. It's really cool to be part of some of the big, massive work going on in the country. Or if you want to stay local because you got a family, apply to some of our local offices. You can stay there. You don't have to travel. You're not expected to travel, and your family gets to stay stable. So it's a large industry. We're continuing to grow. But as you start to get into these job sites, it feels like a really small home style business. So I love the place, love what I'm doing, have no complaints. So I think it's a great way for a veteran to transition from where they are today into our industry. Usually it's a pretty seamless fit.
Awesome. More than a bumper sticker, but that was a lot. It's a good problem to have, hiring and have that much demand and that much growth. And really, I love the fact that there's opportunities that Turner will meet you where you are, it sounds like, right? If you want to be out there and traveling again and on the road, great. If you, hey, I've been doing that in the military and I want to kind of settle down in, hometown USA, I can do that too. So that is great to have that flexibility and a career path that allow you to do that, which is amazing because not a lot of companies offer that. So love to hear all of that. That's super cool. All right, Gabrielle, we'll close it up with you. Touch a little bit on where do you want the program to be 3 years? If we come back on the podcast 3 years from now, where is Turner? Where's the veteran program? What are you doing? What should we know about where you're going with your veteran program?
I love that question. Okay, so I think in Gabrielle's ideal world and Brad's ideal world, we would have a robust SkillBridge Fellowship feeder program, both the trades and more work with our other SkillBridge partners, CPI Foundation, Hiring Our Heroes, Helmets to Hard Hats, whoever it may be. The Honor Foundation, we could continue to have more people from those cohorts. That would be great as far as talent pipeline, our upline talent as well. But I think longer term, like having a rotational program, I think would be really awesome because we've seen it work outside of the veteran space. We've seen it work where people, whether they intern or they're just in a business unit where they have great success of bopping around to different positions in the field, within that, those projects. And it really gives them the experience that they may not always know. Like maybe they want to go a project management route versus a super route, or what does a cost analyst do? What does the estimator do? So a rotational program, I think, would be awesome. And just being more involved in military career fairs, getting involved into communities that we maybe don't have insight to or they don't know us yet. I think that's where we'd be. We'd have a smooth transition process for everyone. I think our HR partners would be very happy and the candidates would be happy. They know what they're signing up for and they know that they should always know that they have the support here. But I would say, just to kind of go off a little bit off also what Brad said advice-wise, especially if you're thinking of a SkillBridge opportunity, start early, start networking early. I mean, because believe it or not, especially at a large company like ours, it takes a while, right? Communication back and forth to get you set up. And we know that that's a short window. So having people reach out and start those conversations, even just to connect, before you even think about what kind of position you want, start early and just know that you're not alone. There's so many people internally, civilian and veteran, that are so willing to help here, which is why I continue to do this work. It's wonderful to partner with them.
Well, you are a great advocate for the company and for the veteran community. I love working with you and I appreciate
Likewise.
both of y'all and all you're doing at Turner for our veteran community. It means a lot to me personally as a veteran, and can't wait to check back in 3 years from now and see you continue to grow and crush it. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate it. Out here.
Thank you,
Well,
Bo.
thank you.